You're in a meeting talking about a new project. You look around. Everyone else seems excited. You feel the pit of dread in your stomach. Your manager asks, anyone have anything to add? You do. You know that there is not enough time and too much to do, that you're being asked to do more with less again. But as you wonder whether to say something, you look around. Everyone else seems okay with it. You don't want to be difficult. So you shake your head, shrug your shoulders, keep your mouth shut. That night, as you're lying awake replaying the meeting, you wish you would have said something. Staying silent when you want to share leaves you with a sense of powerlessness. Like life is happening to you and you're just a passenger. You're looking for permission, but not sure who to get it from. For me, this work is both professional and personal. I spent more than a decade teaching skills for how to negotiate, have difficult conversations, give and receive feedback. Tools and frameworks out of the Harvard Negotiation Project. They're useful. And despite tremendous investment from teams, individuals, and organizations, I noticed that some people still wouldn't negotiate, have difficult conversations, or give and receive feedback. Which begs the question, why not? Now, the typical answers are, they need more courage. You need more confidence. You need to be more assertive. But what if we've got it wrong? What if we don't speak up even when we know we should because we've learned silence? What if instead of fixing ourselves or fixing women by being more, better, louder, clearer, we instead need to solve for silence? Silence. The reason why people wouldn't negotiate, have difficult conversations, or give and receive feedback. Silence, not as the meditative moment on a yoga mat, but as the withholding of self for the comfort and convenience of others. We were all born with voices. When we were babies, that voice was crying. Studies of babies in orphanages show that if people didn't respond to their cries, over time they learned to stop crying. Why? Their efforts were futile. Like those babies, many of us have learned silence. We were taught that silence is proper, professional, even pious. I am the youngest daughter of a Taiwanese American family. I learned that to respect your elders means to keep your mouth shut. Children are supposed to be seen and not heard. As an immigrant, your acceptance and belonging are already so tenuous. Why would you draw more attention to yourself? Instead, go with the flow. Be grateful. Don't complain. Silence was a strategic tactic, a survival mechanism, a way of staying safe, of not incurring the costs that come with visibility. Now, over time, I realized that this silence wasn't just something that I made up or was a flaw in my family of origin, but that as I looked around, silence was everywhere. The ways we silence ourselves, the ways we silence each other, the ways that silence is baked into the systems that we're all part of. And by the way, the silence served me well. At school, it made me someone everyone wanted on my group projects. At work, it made me easy to work with and a good team player. In life, I was the bigger person and others-centered. The question that unlocks our power and influence isn't, how can I speak up? It's, what role does silence play in my life? And so I invite you to ask yourself, what role is silence playing in my life? Because silence isn't individual. It's social, it's systemic. It's a cycle that mutes our power and influence. It shows up within us, gets reinforced between us, and cemented around us unless and until we unlearn it at each level. Let's start with social silence. We end up silencing each other by our reactions and our choices. Someone says to you, tell me what you really think. But when you do, they get defensive. That's not what I meant. Now, I am a morning person. My brain is clearest before the sun rises. My husband is a night owl. 9 p.m. is prime time. If I try to raise any serious issues with him before noon, it does not go well. If he raises them at 9 p.m., I am half asleep. Anytime we make it harder for someone to share their thoughts about themselves, we incline them towards silence. We make it attractive and even logical for them to withhold their thoughts about themselves. The good news is we can make choices that make it easier for them and for us to share. My husband and I have learned the hard way that we basically have between noon and 1 p.m. if we're in the same time zone to have any serious conversation. We are still married. Silence is social, but it's also systemic. Offering paid parental leave makes it more possible for people to both have children and continue to contribute professionally. Not offering paid parental leave silences the talent and potential of people with children because it forces the difficult decision between childcare and income. Is this topic complex? Absolutely. But every policy decision supports some while silencing others. We've talked about social and systemic silence. I want to talk about self, the silence we've learned. Because if silence is not serving who you are today and who you are becoming, you have the power to choose a different way, to unlearn silence. Because learned silence fundamentally boils down to questioning, do I have a voice? Do I have something to offer? Am I worthy of being seen, known, heard, respected, and even loved? And the answer is yes. Not because of what you've achieved or produced or what you might say, but because you're human. If you have spent your lifetime dutifully playing the roles given you, daughter, sister, friend, wife, mother, you might not know what your own voice is. Learned silence dulls our sense of self. But all is not lost. If you're looking to re-nurture your voice, you can try 2 questions. The first is, what do I think? Not what does my mother or my manager or my spouse think? What do I think? And second, what do I need? Self-silencing shows up as deprioritizing our own needs out of altruism for others. These 2 questions cultivate an awareness that there is a you, and then it's easier to decide where, when, and with whom to share those thoughts and needs. If you know what you think and what you need, but you're looking for the words with which to share, you might start with, from where I sit. From where I sit, that timeline does not make sense. From where I sit, I don't think we should invite your sister to dinner. Ever. No one has the same vantage point that you do. The beauty of from where I sit is it also naturally begs the question, well, what do things look like from where you sit? And then we're in conversation rather than conflict. To be clear, unlearning silence does not mean saying everything, everywhere, all the time to everyone. The world is far too noisy and complex. But it does mean choosing when and where you use your voice. And if you're like me and you've learned silence, using your voice is hard. It's uncomfortable. It takes practice. But it all starts with remembering you have a choice. If unexamined, the silence we've learned calcifies. It becomes habits we can't break and norms we can't see. It becomes a life in which we're unable to see the power within us, the power to shape the world. And your voice isn't just the words you say in a meeting. Your voice is how you move through the world. The question isn't whether you have something to offer. It's whether you will choose to share. And I hope you do. Because we need what only you can offer.